First major mistake, not looking for help, like thinking you can do it all yourself.
If you desire to create wealth in business, you must figure out a way to disconnect your revenue generation from time.
Most people, you're not really an entrepreneur, you're what we call self-employed. There is, although subtle, a critical difference.
And business doesn't mean you have to go and hire employees and have huge staff or have an office. Business is just the ability to transact.
He said, if you're going to get good at sales, you must learn to love no.
Learn to love no.
Yes.
You're not a hustler, you're a business owner. That's the difference. A lot of these kids, they don't know shit about business, dude. They know how to make money, they know how to market, but business is a multidisciplinary skill. You get paid in proportion to the difficulty of the problems that you solve. Most people that don't make money, they don't solve problems.
So all of these boring industries move billions of dollars daily. Yet, I bet you've never thought about selling boxes or hangers, getting into waste management, or starting a staffing agency. Now, why is that? Because you suffer from what I call the unicorn complex. You think you need to come up with this billion-dollar unicorn idea that no one has ever heard of before in order to be successful. And the problem is, that idea never comes. Weeks turn into months and you stay stuck trying to chase this revolutionary new idea, and that stops you from seeing the biggest secret that's hidden right in front of your nose. And that is, you don't need to invent the next Google or the next Uber. There is an ocean of opportunity in these simple, boring business models that have been tried and tested.
Like when you're working on something, here's what we're learning from this. Work has risk associated with it. If you don't do the work because you're afraid of the risk, you will never get the wealth that only the work can bring. So it's not that we should ignore risks.
Some of the most important factors when it comes to success are kind of out of your hands, and those include, timing. Those include luck. Those include just being in the right place at the right time.
Jay, I have no money. I don't really know too much about money. Where do I start? What do I do?
There's two things in life that I wish we were told earlier. And one is, if you want to make money, you got to follow the math. And I think most often we're told things like follow our passion, do what I did to make money. I made real estate money, you should make real estate money. And I think that's pretty bad advice.
And the scaffolding does a couple of things, but the main thing it does is it ensures that the people who are building upon the foundation are safe to build upon the foundation. Most of us here run businesses that just don't have scaffolding. So, if you're not in the business, it can't run. If you're not at work, there is no work. For those people, you're not really an entrepreneur, you're what we call self-employed. There is, although subtle, a critical difference. You see, the entrepreneur creates systems that enable him to remove himself from the business so he can be somewhere else. The self-employed person builds the business so that it can support usually a lifestyle. But absent of them in the business, there's no business. Notoriously over the past 25 years, especially us, this is where we've failed. This is exactly where we've failed.
Say, Myron, money management, what's that? Money management is managing the cash flow of your business so the outgo does not exceed the income, so the upkeep does not become the downfall. And I see it all the time. You see people that what they do is they start a business, they have a little bit of success, they go blow a whole bunch of money on something they didn't need. And because most people, it's really interesting. I believe the number one reason business owners mismanage money is because nobody ever taught them how to think negative when things are positive. I bet you weren't expecting me to say that, were you?
And business doesn't mean you have to go and hire employees and have huge staff or have an office. Business is just the ability to transact from one person to the other or from one business to the other. So the question is, am I able to transact? The answer to that is yes. Everybody can transact, and you don't have to do it necessarily in person. So this idea of selling, how people naturally talk about you have to be good at sales, you can throw that out the window. We're not even going to talk about that because we live in a digital era as well.
If you're an entrepreneur, guys, stop trying to make the right decision. Rather make the decision right. Yeah? So presuppose the decision is going to be wrong, Try and get as quickly as possible to the feedback that the decision is wrong, and then fix it. Don't go, it must be right the first time. It's just right the first time, that's why you guys quit. You go, oh, I failed, it's close, next thing. You haven't really failed, you just found the path that doesn't lead to where you want to go. Okay.
If you're going to get good at sales, you must learn to love no.
Learn to love no.
Yes. You must learn to love no. See, a lot of people are terrible at sales because they would rather have a forever maybe than a right now no. Right?
And so most businesses fail because they don't solve a market need. What does that mean? Well, I can explain it pretty simple. You know, a lot of people, they go into business because they're copying somebody else. You know, they see a business and they're like, oh, this looks cool, or I think I could do that. And so they go into business and copy them. But then they might find out that then that business was built on the wrong assumptions and everything. Then that business ends up in trouble, and then so does this business. It ends up in trouble. Because, you know, you shouldn't get into business just to copy someone else.
You're not a hustler, you're a business owner. That's the difference. A lot of these kids, they don't know shit about business, dude. They know how to make money, they know how to market, but business is a multidisciplinary skill. Business is a multidisciplinary skill. How to build teams, how to become a leader, how to incentivize your people, logistics, warehouse, customer service, product development, COGS, finance, taxes. Dude, the list goes on and forever. And I've done it, right? Those that live by the lottery of life most likely end up losing because you're just gambling. I don't want to gamble with my life. So what I do is I set a goal and then I focus my time, energy, and attention, which truly are the only assets that you have. So when a lot of people come to me, they're like, Luke, I have nothing. Brother, you and I have the same exact thing, time, energy, and attention. But what you use your time for, it doesn't yield a return. What I use my time for yields a return. You get paid in proportion to the difficulty of the problems that you solve. Elon Musk said that once. You get paid in proportion to the difficulty of the problems that you solve. Most people that don't make money, they don't solve problems. They don't spot problems. They don't capitalize on problems. If you solve small problems, you'll get paid very little. The guy flipping the patties, like Tate says, somebody's got to flip the fucking burgers.
It's true.
But they solve very small problems. So they get paid in proportion to what? Solving that problem. You put a man on Mars, you'll get paid in proportion to solving that problem. So you need to focus your time, your energy, and attention to solving big problems. And hopefully your goal is to serve humanity. So you align your goal with a servant's heart.
People who have a job doing a thing, and they do it really, really well, they make the mistake oftentimes of thinking that they can start a business doing that thing because they're good at doing the job, because they think the job is the business, because that's the only part of the business they see is their job. But the reality is, if you're really, really good at accounting and you work at an accounting firm, that does not mean you're going to be great at running an accounting business. If you're really, really good at being a plumber, that doesn't mean you're going to necessarily be good at running a plumbing business. If you're really, really good at being a hairstylist, that doesn't mean then you're working in somebody else's salon. That doesn't mean you're going to be able to go run a hair salon and be successful with that.
That you're not trying to find an idea for a business. Instead, first of all, you're starting with who are the people you would like to serve. Because fundamentally what a business solves a problem for someone who's willing to pay for that problem to be solved. And the biggest thing that holds back entrepreneurs, and has done forever, is trying to build something without first verifying that there's actually someone out there willing to pay for the thing. This is the problem that students often have, because students come up with great ideas and it's amazing. They're like, I have this idea for this business, and they'll just go and try and build it without first verifying that there are in fact people to pay for it. Here we go. That's why when it comes to generating business ideas, customers come first, before the product or service, even before the idea. To build a business, you need someone to sell to. I can't tell you how many times someone has emailed me saying, what do you think of this business idea? I also get those emails. My auto reply, have you asked what the customer thinks? Basically, when you're trying to start a business, the first step is to figure out who are you going to sell to.
One of the interesting things about Facebook was it wasn't just a picture and some basic info. I mean, it pretty quickly gave people the ability to share more stuff, right?
Yeah.
And one of the early stories that I think is pretty instructive for anyone who's trying to build a startup is, we really listened to what our users wanted, right? And listening means both kind of qualitatively listening to the words that they say and quantitatively looking at the behaviors that they take. And, at the beginning
is going to be your LTV. most people are focused on the front end money in the front end interaction. How can I take from somebody something the first time that I meet them? How can I extract a couple pennies, a couple dollars from this guy like a hungry motherfucking dog? Excuse my language, because it pisses me off. They don't focus on lifetime value.
No. That is a big mistake a lot of people make.
They don't focus on the lifetime value of the customer. They focus on the quick money. So the input is the fast, first relationship, first interaction. They don't think about what's the long-term perspective, what's the long-term journey of this individual with me. When you focus on long-term value and lifetime value, which is so much bigger because it costs more to acquire a new customer than to sell an existing customer another product, then you stop focusing on making the money in the front end. And you focus on allowing the lifetime value of the customer to yield returns long-term, whether it's money, whether it's opportunities, whether it's connections, resources, it really depends. People are focused on the fast money, the fast transactions, and you can make some hustle money, but you're not going to get rich.
Well, I see people burn long-term relationships forever, sometimes going for the money.
Input and output.
Side hustles, what I learned in the beginning of my career, should only be the mentality applied to making your initial money.
Yeah, 100%.
Once you go from hustle mode, you need to go to boss mode.
Yeah.
What is boss mode? A person that is building long-term sustainable businesses. You cannot build long-term scalable businesses by having to force cram and force feed ads in order for your business to survive. It won't work that way. It's too annoying. It's too stressful. I don't want to rely on Zuck's algos and on Zuck's tracking in order for me to make money.
Yeah.
The main ingredient is love. What do I mean by that? You have to love the people that you serve so much that you never sell them anything that doesn't do them good. Why? Because it's just not worth it. It's not worth it to burn bridges for short-term gain. I'm telling you, if you will do what I showed you today, it'll change your life for the rest of your life. Now,
so people need to start shifting their mindset. Once you have your first 100K, dude, your mindset should shift from hustle to boss.
100%, I agree. You know, there's a good quote. It says, they say, Mark Zuckerberg wasn't flipping Airbnbs when he was building Facebook. He was focusing his time on building Facebook. He didn't have any of these side hustles. And some of these side hustles, it's good in the beginning when you want to learn what you want to do many things.
And he's in a scenario where instead of him making money, which I'd already done, he comes from a family that was decent, he raised money.
Yeah.
Right? Your goal is to not have to worry about money. Whatever way you achieve that, whether your parents give you the money, whether you make your own money like we did, whether you fundraise, whatever it is, right?
I think if you want to make money, you, one, have to increase your skill set. So you need a value stack of skills that's pretty good. You, two, have to work harder than you think. For three, longer than you think. Four, developing some sorts of connections, which usually starts with you giving things before getting them. But five, you have to take risk. And if you don't take any risk, you can become a millionaire, but it's a lot harder. And I don't think people think about risk. People think about risk badly.
So marketing is the art and science of discovering. Now, most people think that marketing is handing out information. It's about disseminating information. It's about handing out flyers. That's not marketing. That's promotion, but it's not marketing. Marketing is not giving out information. Marketing is gathering information. It's the market research, right? It's the art and science of discovering what? In other people, a desire for what you have. So here's what's really fascinating to me. People say, Myron, where do I find people to sell my stuff to? You're asking the wrong question. That's always the wrong question. Where do I find people but I got this really great thing that I've innovated, that I've invented. Where do I find people to sell this to? You're asking the wrong question. You should be asking the question, how do I make myself findable for people who already want to buy what I already want to sell?